Living with low back pain is no fun. I know, I suffered with it for many years. So in this video, I show you 5 of the most effective stretches to help relieve low back pain and prevent it from occurring in the future. Now, what you'll find in these stretches is that often we'll stretch the hips along with the low back because the hips and the low back are in close relationship. The muscles of your hips, your hip flexors in the front, the extenders in the back, and the abductors on the sides all help to support healthy spinal alignment as you move. And if you sit a lot or you have bad posture, these muscles can become really tight and they pull on the low back, creating stress and strain. So one of the keys to dealing with low back pain is to stretch the hips along with the low back and to incorporate some strengthening of the hip muscles and the core, which is what I'm going to show you today. If you like my teaching, if you enjoy these videos, then please check out my Patreon site, link below in the video description. It's an opportunity for you to help support the making of these videos, and it gives you exclusive access to special live stream events like Tea Time with David and Yoga 101, where we get to just hang out, chat, I answer your questions, we talk yoga. It's fun. I greatly appreciate you. All right, on to the stretches. So this first stretch is a combination of 3 easy, relaxing stretches that will immediately relieve tension in the low back and help to open and loosen things up as we move on to deeper stretching. This first one will need a wall and maybe a pillow or rolled up blanket, not necessary, but might make things more comfy. Okay, to set up against the wall, scoot the side of your hips and your shoulders right up against the wall, and then just pivot and sweep the legs up the wall. Adjust and push yourself forward so that the sit bones are pressing against the wall. Legs are straight up, about hip distant apart. And then you just relax. Now you'll feel a nice opening, a nice lengthening in the back of the legs here, the hamstrings, all the way down to the heels. And that stretch helps to release tension in the low back and just open things up. So just hang out here, arms to the sides, close your eyes, pay attention to the breath, let everything relax, breathe into the places where you feel sensation. And just hang out for up to 2 minutes. Again, really great immediate relief for the low back here. Now, if it does feel a little uncomfortable, a little too much stretch in the back of the legs, that's where the pillow can come in handy. So just lift up the low back and slide a blanket or pillow underneath the low back, and voila, there you go. Comfort. Now, that does reduce the stretch a little bit, so play around with the thickness of this, or if you need it at all, okay? So you hang out there for 2 minutes. You soak that up. That's the first phase. The second one is a butterfly shape. So bring the soles of the feet together and draw the heels down far enough, just to the point of reasonable comfort, right? Just looking for that balance between comfort and stretch. Hands to the ankles, let the legs relax and open, the knees open, close your eyes, and again, just sit here and soak it up for up to 2 minutes. Now this is a good stretch of the insides of the hips, the insides of the thighs. Again, this helps to release pressure and tension on the low back, depending upon where your low back is coming from. This could be really fantastic for you. 2 minutes, hang out, relax, and then finally, we'll come into a happy baby shape, okay? So bring the feet pressing against the wall. And now the height of the feet here, the lower you bring the feet, the more of a stretch you will get. So adjust that. You may find as your feet come down that the low back starts to lift off the mat. What you want to do is press the heels gently into the wall, push the low back down to the mat, and that will give you that stretch in the outsides of the hips, that's so effective at relieving low back tension. Hands can come to the shins or the outsides of the knees. Close your eyes and hang out here for a glorious amount of time that you choose, 30 seconds to 2 minutes or more, right? Really let yourself soak this in. And when you're ready, just roll to the side and pop up. And that's it. You're ready for the next stretch. For this second stretch, we're going to use the wall again. And this is one of my very favorite stretches. Come back to it often. It's called figure 4 up the wall. Okay, so we set up in a similar way that we did for the first stretch, scooting the sides of our hips and shoulders against the wall, and then just pivot and sweep the legs up the wall. Adjust so that the sit bones are as close to the wall as possible, preferably touching. And then you're going to take your left ankle, place it on top of the right thigh, just below the knee, and just feel that for a moment, right? Feel the stretch on the outside of the left hip here. Let the body adjust. And then you start to bend this right knee, bringing the heel down, and you can interlace the hands behind the right hamstring as you come down, and right away you'll feel the stretch, right, on the outside of that left hip. Flexing the left foot helps to protect the knee, so keep that left foot flexed, and just come down a little bit at a time. It won't take much at all at first if the hips are tight, which I'm speaking to myself and everyone out there. We've got tight hips, right? So relax into it, breathe, close your eyes, and just little by little keep bringing that right foot down until you feel a nice stretch. Now again, what might happen is the low back starts to lift off the mat. That's why the wall is here. So you press the right foot into the wall, push the low back down to the mat, the sacrum making contact. That's the stretch. You feel that? Let the low back lift and then press. And as you push the low back down, you feel that stretch really deepen. And you just keep coming down, finding that happy place, right? It's a nice balance between stretch and opening and ease. Once you find that place, close your eyes and hang out for a good 2 minutes or more here. This is really, really good. Once you're done, slowly climb that right foot back up the wall and switch and do the other side. After both sides, roll to your side and onward to the next one. All right, this next stretch, we're going to use the wall again, but in a slightly different way. We're going to start in a modification of runner's lunge, and then we'll work from that towards something called King Arthur's pose. This is a really great stretch for the front of the hips, the hip flexors, which in turn gives you some sweet relief in the low back. Okay, so for this one, you're going to want a blanket or a cushion or something to give your knee some support. Place the blanket up against the wall here so that you have some length of blanket, because we're going to be moving the knee from a position out here back toward the wall. So you want some cushion that extends about 2 feet away from the wall, okay? We'll set up first with that right knee, maybe a foot away from the wall, the leg up the wall, so the foot is against the wall. And then bring that left foot forward into a runner's lunge position so that the knee is over the ankle. Now you can use some blocks for your hands here or just come down to your fingertips. And as you exhale, let the upper body lunge forward a little bit. And as you do, you'll feel this nice stretch in front of the right hip, down the right quad in front of the thigh. That's the hip flexor opening up. You just let the body push forward a little bit, deepening the stretch, melting into the front hip flexor, Soak it up. Stay here for 30 seconds to 2 minutes. Now, to deepen this, you start moving the knee closer to the wall, okay? So, and to do that, come out of the lunge shape. Don't try to do it with this front foot in a lunge. Come out of the lunge, move the knee back a couple inches, come back into the lunge, stacking the left knee over the ankle, and then let the upper body lunge forward. Ooh, yeah, feel that stretch. Now it's really getting deep, right? As we get the knee closer and closer to the wall, this gets deeper, okay? So you find your happy place here. Keep on going until you find an appropriate stretch that works for you. Now you can keep on going, bringing the knee all the way back against the wall so that the shin is straight up. You bring this left foot into a runner's lunge position, and now you come straight up, hands on the knee. And this is called King Arthur's pose. As you bring the torso up, you get a really deep stretch into the hip flexor, the front of the hip on the right side. For some of you, this is not appropriate, right? This is too much, and that's okay. So you use that spectrum to work up to something that feels like a good stretch. Hang out here for 30 seconds to 2 minutes, and as you do, you'll get really great relief in the low back by stretching out the hips, the front of the hips, okay? To come out, you just come forward, bring that left knee down, and slowly come out. All right, onward. Okay, this next exercise is more of a strengthening exercise than a stretch, and it's so important when we're talking about low back pain to strengthen the muscles of the hips and the core. The stronger those muscles are, the more that they do the work of supporting the spine and supporting the low back, and the more the low back can just relax and be happy, right? When those muscles are weak, the low back has to do more and more work to stabilize the body, and that causes stress and strain, and over time, pain, not good. So this is one of the best exercises to strengthen the hip extenders, especially the glutes. It's called the Glute Bridge. And it's really easy, really simple. So you come to your back with knees bent, arms along your sides. And the idea here is to press through the heels. And as you do, you're pushing into the earth, lifting the hips only to a point where there's a straight line down the spine all the way through the knees. At the top, you want to squeeze the glutes and hold. You want to avoid pushing too high with the hips and arching the back. That doesn't do what we want to do. Actually, it adds more strain to the low back. Okay, so just push enough so that you've got a nice straight line all the way through the spine, through the knees, and then at the top, squeeze the glutes, push into the heels, squeeze the glutes, and hold for 10 seconds with that squeeze, and then slowly lower. And as soon as the butt touches the mat, you again push up, hold at the top, squeeze the glutes. Now, when you push into the heels, your body is going to move forward. You'll feel some pressure on the shoulders. That's fine, right? Just squeeze the glutes, hold for 10 seconds, come all the way down, butt touches, and then push back up and squeeze. I like to do a set of 10 of these, holding each time for 10 seconds at the top. And as you get stronger, you can work up to sets of 20, or you can increase the hold time at the top from 10 to 20 seconds. You choose and see what works for you. Again, fantastic exercise to strengthen the glutes, strengthen the hips, and take the pressure off the low back. Okay, this last stretch creates a really sweet release in the low back. It stretches the muscles of the QL, or the Quadratus Lumborum, which is the muscle that lives just underneath the bottom rib and just above the top of the hip. And yeah, that's the one where you reach around and it's like, it feels like a steel cable. We're gonna stretch that thing out and give it some sweet relief and some space, and you'll feel better. Okay, so come to your back with the knees bent. Bring your knees together and your feet wide on the mat. So the outsides of the feet are maybe even off the mat or right at the edges of the mat. And then just begin to wash the knees back and forth, keeping the feet wide on the mat. So the knees fall to one side and then the other. And then you'll feel as the knees fall all the way to one side, you'll feel that stretch up the low back on one side and then the other. Just keep on washing, relaxing into your breath. And then let both knees fall to the right. Again, keeping the feet wide on the mat here. The knees have fallen to the right. Place the right ankle on top of the left thigh, just above the knee. Flex the right foot. Arms out to your sides, and let the weight of the leg, that top right leg, pull down on the left leg to create this beautiful stretch in the low back on the left side and through the outside of and the front of the left hip. Close your eyes, breathe, and just let gravity do the work here. You don't have to force or do anything. Breathe, relax into this for 30 seconds to 2 minutes, or however long feels good to you. And then gently come out. And before you go to the other side, knees together, feet wide, just wash the knees back and forth a few more times. And then we take it to the other side. Left ankle on top of that right thigh, just above the knee. Relax, melt. Oh, it's such a good stretch. Love it. Hang out there for up to 2 minutes. And when you release, again, let the knees wash back a couple times before you come all the way out. And there you have it, folks. 5 stretches that I think are super effective to relieve chronic low back pain and prevent this nasty pain from occurring in the future. It's so debilitating, and I really hope these stretches help you. If you enjoyed this and if you like my teaching, again, I ask you to please check out my Patreon site. You can support the making of these videos, which I greatly appreciate, and get special access to live stream events that will be fun and an opportunity for us to hang out and build community. Thank you so much. Namaste.